Mark, it said in broadcast. I thought I was good. I've been sitting here talking to you for 5 minutes, and Mark came down and said, I don't see you. So sorry about that. But hello, it's April 26th. That means the next Sunday is going to be May. So, oh, you saw the rose flower. Yes, and you know what I'm going to do is put it on, I've scanned it into my system, and I'll pop it on the website today. So, hello, Miss Mary. Yeah, it does kind of, hi, Mayor. It does look like paint with numbers. And I'm going to get you started on it today. And I'm so excited to start a brand new project. I've gotten my pecan blossoms just about done. Remember last week I was sewing on the binding? I got about halfway around and realized I was out of binding. Yikes. Yeah, Debbie's here, and so this is great. So I've got some fabric to cut out some more binding. I don't know what in the world I did. Usually I'm really good at making enough binding, but somehow my brain must have shorted out. But as you can see, let me show you, I've been working on the Irish Homestead quilt because I really want to get it done and get it out of here in the next 2 weeks. So I've got to really focus. This week, I spent 3 days outside, at least let's say about a half a day each, outside planting my flowers. I've got a few little pictures. I'm so close to being done. But then I had to stop that so I could make sure I had a show for you today. I've got a brand new block on the English paper piecing. I've been busy. Got our new project last night. I went to my grandson, my local grandson, Evan, is a senior, and he's going to be going to college. Luckily, he's staying in the area. A wonderful A&T college with a great, my sound is echoing. I wonder what that's about. Let's see what happens. Anybody else having an echo? Hi, Bonnie. Oh, it's so good seeing y'all. You like the Irish quilt? Good. That's called a double Irish chain. And it's very slight. I'm understandable. Thank goodness. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it's a double Irish chain. What makes it different is the little squares are set on point. And I think that is beautiful. So, my binding on the pecan blossom quilt, somehow I mismeasured. Because after I finished the show last week, I told Mark, I'm going to sit here and put the binding on because I have more desk space. Upstairs, it's a small bedroom. I have a small desk, and it's hard to put binding on a big quilt unless you have space to carry the weight of that. That is a heavy, heavy quilt. So I stayed down here to put it on and then went, oops, I only have half enough binding. So I have some fabric to cut out my additional binding. And I'll show you how I do that, and I'll do it correctly this time. And I just wanted to show you again, this is my comfort pincushion. What do you call it? Support pincushion? So I love this thing, and I'm so glad that he's our new show mascot. And so I just wanted to show him, and I'm so thankful I won it from, thank you, Marsha. I'm so glad I won it from Nancy at the retreat. So, okay, let's see. I've got pictures. Oh, we finally got rain yesterday. Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, and I got to tell you, it's so funny. So I told Mark, I know we're supposed to get some rain. So I worked out in the yard Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I said, if I go out there Friday, I will get it done. Friday, I woke up, I hurt everywhere. How do you know when you're too sedentary? when you go out to work in the yard and you can hardly move the next day and everything hurt. And so, whoa. So I said, I can't go out there today. I'm going to go sew. And that's when I worked on the Irish chain. I'll leave it like that so we can see both quilts. But you'll see that that let me bring this. Okay. I want to show you where I only have enough binding to go down this part and part way there and then part way on the top. So I've got to measure it today and then see how many inches versus how many inches the binding fabric is, width of fabric, and then I will cut out my 2.5-inch strips. Sorry, I keep moving this around. I want you to be able to see a little bit of the Irish homestead. I was really proud of that. I had to upstairs in that bedroom. Hi, Charlene Lawson. I had to clean up that part of that room. I still have more to go. But when you're making the Irish chain quilt, and especially with all the different colors, boy, I'm a little warm. Hold on, let me turn on my fan. When I get warm, I don't feel good. So let me get this on. Okay.
I noticed somebody mentioned echo. Do you want me to see if I can change that?
Yes. Mark is going to try to catch the echo. So hold on 1 second. It's nice to have a handsome IT man, isn't it? Doesn't work.
All right. Does that work?
I hope it sounds better. Does it sound better? Yes, in fact, most all of my plants are planted in pots. So, is there an echo still, or is it sounding a little better? Everything looks like it's working.
Okay, I'll check it upstairs.
Yay! But isn't he very handsome? I know. I am so just love that boy. So, let me see. Hi, Elizabeth Crafting. Do you have a YouTube site? Because I would love to check that out. I need to rename this site. Miss Jo mentioned something, and I thought she had a good point. I do quilting, I guess in a lot of ways. We're more of a quilting channel, but I do crafts too. I love paper beads. I love basket weaving, which I haven't done with y'all yet. I love print making, carving. I love polymer clay. I have a lot. Oh, bobbin lace making. So I love crafting. So, but no more echo. Good, he fixed it. Isn't he great? What was I going to tell y'all now? He was real helpful to me today in doing some of the heavy lifting. Because I bought 4 bags of potting soil. They delivered the wrong one, so they were smaller bags, so I had to order 2 more, and they're giant, so I won't run out. But, oh, it's Mitty. It's our wonderful Mitty. Okay, I love it. Our time to do a little of everything. I love that, Mary. I love it. I was thinking of our time to quilt and other fun. But my grandson, who's a senior, had his final musical, and it was amazing. It was so amazing. They had about 3 or 4 singers who were something else. I mean, there were a couple I said, we're going to see them on Broadway one day. They're that good. And my grandson was in charge of all the music and the queuing it up, and he was considered the band director in this production, and I'll show him to you. Could not be more proud of that guy. And he is the nicest young man. I mean, just sweet as they come. So here is my Evan, and he is wonderful. I just love that boy. So, and he is a straight A student and he's going to go for an engineering degree. And I mean, he can do it all. Let me tell you. I love this box. Let me see if I can show you this. Miss Lisa gave me this box and it's wonderful. Let me show you the detail close-up camera. See this box? I just realized I hadn't cleaned up a few things on my desk, so I just popped them in there real quick. She also gave me this cute little flamingo basket. So, okay. Isn't he wonderful? He's such a good boy. I shouldn't call him boy. He's 18 and he's a wonderful young man. All right, I'll come back here. So I worked on my flowers for 3 days, then sowed Friday, then it rained yesterday. So I have to watch the weather to see when I can finish. But let me tell you, Miss Mary, you might have this problem too. I bought what's called a sensitive plant. Are any of you familiar with it? It looks like one of those little Japanese pom-pom trees, real fine leaves. And when it's jostled, when it's touched, the leaves will close. And they think it's an adaptation to keep predators from eating it. Well, something still ate it. I bought one precious one. I was so tickled. It was so tiny because they sell them out so fast. This was a second batch at the nursery. Well, I was watering. I saw it was gone. I was so sad. Oh, there's Miss Lisa. They are definitely coming in handy. I'm so glad Miss Lisa's there. Well, I was out watering and I realized I don't see that plant in its pot. Went over and checked everywhere. It was gone. Sat outside like a little baby and cried my eyeballs out. It had been such a stressful week worrying about war and all this kind of stuff. And it just seeing that something came by and ate that plant made me cry. Mark said, we know where they sell them. So I went right back that day and bought 2 more. And now they're in a pot in my sunroom waiting to get big enough to go outside where I think that then the whole thing can't be eaten. But I've got all these, yeah, it's a neat one. And I've got all these things that the first time I ever saw a sensitive plant was at Monticello. Thomas Jefferson loved growing them. And in fact, I've got some seeds of hyacinth bean that I also love because Thomas Jefferson grew them. So I've got to find those and get them started. But anyway, let me see. Okay. But I planted all these pots and I go out there to water them and a begonia is pulled out. Now the chickens pulled that one out. I think they were eating the begonia leaves. But then I see a hanging pot. It's hanging from a shepherd's hook. And something's been in there digging at it. And I think the squirrels get confused and think that they had planted some acorns in it. So they're checking. Either that or I use some of the moisture holding little pellets that you put a little sprinkle of these like little salt-sized pellets. And they swell with water and make a gel, and that gives you slow water over drier times. So I think sometimes they're looking for some water and they can smell it in the soil. But anyway, so every day I have to go around all my pots and check them and either put dirt back in them or replant what they pulled out. And in fact, I like putting little pots on the deck rails. They're like 2x6s around the deck, but the squirrels are always knocking them over. And I've got a problem. I love the squirrels, but I love my plants more. So what do? So I'm going to take out a hot glue gun and I'm going to hot glue those puppies on top because I had put a nail that I have the pot sit on to try it, and that helps some, but they can still knock them over. So now I'm going to take and put a big blob of hot glue, stick it down on there, and then see what they do with it. And I told Mark it shouldn't hurt the rail because in the cold weather, it'll probably pop right off. So, boy, I'm talking a lot. Sorry about that. But I have pictures of my garden to show you, pictures of my grandson's play. I can't tell you how good this was. This was a better done production than a lot of our local, what do you call them, community play groups. I was amazed. So, really impressed. And it it can be pretty, the sensitive plant, it can be pretty, but it has thorns on it, so you have to be careful. And then it kind of gets stalky, and the blossoms are little pink puffballs. But if you're in the South, you've probably seen a cousin of this plant, that it's a tree with little fine leaves and these pink puffies. We used to like call them Barbie umbrellas or something. And that is a relative. But this one, if you touch it or the rain touches it, it closes up and the branch droops down. And I love stuff that evolved to be self-protective. I think that's really cool. But anyway, all right. So I will show you my flowers. Well, let me go ahead and show them now because it's not really show and tell, but whoops, nope, I don't even need that camera yet. Let me go to, here we go. And I'll bring, while we're talking about plants, I will show plants. Okay. I asked Mark, I said, I had wanted to get the deck set back up because we need some deck work. And just to show you the deck without everything set up, it's not very pretty because some of the deck boards are getting a little rotten and ragtag looking. So as soon as Mark gets his mojo, I'm going to go out and help him, and we're going to put new deck boards. But here is one of the pots, and I've got lantana, I've got a sweet potato, I've got some sun-loving begonias, so that is nice. And this laying in the pot is from a tulip poplar tree. And so that's fallen down in there. All right, let's see. What do I have next? This is a pot right up by the sunroom. And I've got a caladium and a couple of really cool looking begonias that are new to me this year. So I've been putting them everywhere. I still need to finish planting this bed. I'm going to put some hostas in it. And that will be nice. Now, here is that new little begonia. It's got almost like a little, well, it's not really a pickety edge because it's not pinked, but it's a pale color with a pink edge surrounding the petals, and it's cute as can be. So this is sitting beside my swing. And I know some of you who aren't into gardening, this probably is very boring. And here's my rhododendron that's blooming. And then this is, I bought this pot already planted. It's a tuberous begonia or tuberose begonia. And beside it, let me see if I can zoom in, is another caladium and some more begonias. And there's a cardinal on our bird feeder. But here is a little rail pot that I planted, and the hostas on each end. I've got tons of hostas. And then these are dianthus or pinks. Love those. And then two more of those. I bought a whole tray of those begonias. So you'll see a lot of those this season, as long as the squirrels don't eat them. And then this pot has a, oh gosh, I've forgotten now. It's this sunny yellow flower, and I think its name starts with an M. And I have forgotten it, but it loves sun, and it just blooms its little heart out. And I paired it with two red polka dot plants. And the polka dot plants, the leaves are what they enjoy. You don't. Well, I tell you, it's something I used to garden like I now quilt and craft, meaning I was a nut over it. But I've got some more begonias here. Here is the clematis. I've got a croton or croton. I think it's croton, which is a beautiful plant with thick leaves with multi-red, yellow, orange, green. Oh, Mayor's there with you, Marcia. Okay, let's see. I felt like I had, here is that plant again. And it's Sunny Yellow is the name, and it starts, oh boy, I can't remember it. It's not a cone flower, but it tell you what, it almost looks like one, doesn't it? Okay, let's see. And here's another lantana here. And look, see how the squirrels have been digging in this one? Right there. And that is a New Guinea impatient. I've got an ageratum here, some more of the polka dot plants. And I love pinks because unless we get a really harsh winter, they will come back. But okay, next. And here's another view. Oh, this, I think it's called a penstemon. It was so pretty, I just had to get it. So I gave it a special place. This is the pot I will end up putting the sensitive plants in once they have a little bigger size to them, because they are teeny tiny and evidently delicious at this stage. Let me see. I think that's it for that. I did want to show you something too. Remember last week I did the lino print block and it was coneflowers? Well, this is where I got the idea. But if you see, this shows better because they're not so squeezed in. They have a little bit more space and you can see exactly what they are. So I tried making mine, I tried putting a lot of flour in a tiny area. And Mark said too, when they were close in together with the leaves drooping the way they do, yep, that's echinacea. Good job. Good job. And they didn't look like a recognizable flower. And while I'm here, I'll go ahead and show you this so I won't have to come back to it. Look at this set on the stage. It was amazing. I can't tell you. That was a standing ovation they received because they were amazing. We will be seeing some more. My grandson is back here. Let me see if I can bring it up because he was in with the band and here he is right here. He cued in all of the music and okay, they were so talented. Here's another one. I keep looking to see if I can see more of his face. There's a little bit better of him. And let me see. Here is supposed to be a closer picture of him and this wonderful girl on the cello, but they were so talented. So that's it for me. So I have no other photos to show you, but just wanted to give you, now I didn't mean to close that out, but let's come back. Okay. So now I've caught you up on my yard. And I still have my vegetable garden to do. Mark went in and chopped down all the weeds so it almost looks like a garden. An empty one, but a garden. So I'm going to make some more binding for, I tell you what, this is a gorgeous quilt. I absolutely love this. I have a feeling I'm going to make another one of that. Now I'm trying, okay. I hope I can get that picture back up. I think I can. I think I can. I hope I can. I forgot how to put that up there. Let me see. I got worried now. Sorry, I got distracted. I'm doing my squirrel, but there we go. Okay, I'm happy. Now, if I haven't done it in the last 5 minutes, I've forgotten it. So today, I showed you the Irish homestead process. Oh, I was telling you about straightening up my frame room. Oh my gosh, if I were brave, I'd show you just how bad these rooms are. But this coming up week, soon as I get my plants finished, then I'm moving in here to get this place cleaned up. I've been talking about getting it fully cleaned up for 2 years. Enough is enough. And when it gets in the way of having fun, you gotta buckle down. I hate it, but gotta do it. Okay, so I cleaned off a folding table in my upstairs sewing room because I have probably 15 variations of strip sets to use, whoops, to use for the Irish homestead quilt. So I had to have space to lay them all out. And then as I sew, I'm trying to make sure I don't have too many of this or too many of that in close proximity. All I can say is thank goodness for audiobooks. And do you know you can find a lot of audiobooks on YouTube? And that's a wonderful thing for me. So, but I showed you that progress. I got the room set up, but I truly have to get in there and get in that frame of mind. It's not a quilt, at least for me. It's not a quilt you can just do. It you have to really, think about it. All right, I did not have any time to do clay this week, the polymer clay. I did clean it up and clean out the big tote that it's in and put it away. We put our house plants outside now that the nighttime temperatures supposedly 55 and above really is best for putting your house plants outside. We're going to have a couple little times it dips a couple degrees below that, but I'm not bringing them back in. Some of my house plants are over 6 feet tall. So we got those out. Now that we have room in the sunroom, I'm going to set my hammock up again. And I told Mark, this year of all years, it is with everything that's going on and the stress going on in the whole world, I need my hammock. And I've got a bunch of great books to read. And so it's going to be good for me. Because if I don't take care of, if I don't take care of myself, I don't want to go down the depression hole. You know what I mean? That is just too hard to deal with. So, I put all my clay away so we could get that room. We want to really, once you take out the plants, the leaves can fall off and we've got to clean the room. I'm going to steam clean the carpet in there, then put my hammock up. So that's going to be great. I have a lot to do this week. Then I'm going to show you, in fact, I might take you over there right now and show you how the progress is going on my English paper piecing quilt. And I have to tell you, we got home from my grandson's play at about 10:30. I said, I'm going to work on the English paper piecing. Maybe not the smartest thing. And I put it up, Mayor, I put it up in my sunroom because we have such bad mosquitoes here. So I can lay inside in the air conditioning and the bugless environment and enjoy. Is that spoiled or what? I think I tend to be a wee bit spoiled. But okay, bring that up a little. So I should not have worked on this at 10:30 at night. Because I ended up making probably 3 times as many blocks as I really needed. So I save them and maybe I can redesign it. But I'm going to bring you over to the close-up camera and show you where we're staying. And I have this pattern free on our site. If you're not a member of our site, it's just a free site. It's Groups.io, just a chat site. But you can always let me write this in. Our time to quilt at gmail.com. And I will be glad to send you the information. So it was a free pattern on a website and I love it. So let me now get my camera over. All right. The very first block I made was this one. And this comes from it's an adaptation of I think it was Leslie Boston pattern. And so that was the first block I made. Then I got some rusty orange. Wait a minute. I think I just made them. No. Okay. I think this was the second block I made. And I'm missing a couple pieces because do you see what this does? They interlock. And I think that's awesome. So it just adds that little secondary pattern. Then this week, this is the one I made. Now, I put on some of these just in case I need them, but I might go back and have them all be this one. I haven't decided, but I wanted to add some of the rust color because this fabric, some of the fabrics have a little bit of orangey rust. So now that I finished the third one, I started a fourth one, and I love these. I'm hoping our Hopi works on these because she started because it's a nice project to work on in the evening when you don't feel like sitting at your sewing machine. These are great English paper piecing. I'm a huge fan now, even though I swore I would never do hexagons. And, oops, I had some needle and thread in this. Okay. I don't need that needle. I showed you the past 2 weeks how easy it is to sew English paper piecing. And you just cut the fabric out with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Then I take just an Elmer's glue stick and I glue it over. So then you've got a nice, beautiful, neat, tidy piece to sew on. So these are going to go here. And let me bring the light over just. Okay. These are going to go here. Then these are going to come up here. But I had to remake so many of these blocks because I thought it would look good until I laid it out. And then I realized, no, it doesn't look so good now. So I had to make new ones, but I saved my old ones because chances are I will use them in another block. Okay, put this here and put this here and this here. All right, so this is going to be this block, and I think that's right pretty. Now this looks white on the screen, but it's a pale turquoise. So I'm experimenting with using light or dark centers, and I think that will give it a little interest. So where it's coming together, and I just wanted to show you that. But I can, if I were focused, I could do an entire, if I had these pre-glued, I could do an entire block in one evening. And so they're fun and easy, and they don't take too much thinking, but make sure you have it facing the right way before you start sewing, or you'll have a surprise. And then I'm going to use this same block. It's like a marbly thing. I'm going to use that for the corners of the new block. But I've got my thread heaven. I've got a bobbin. What is thimble? And then the thing I love best, somebody gave these to me as a gift, and oh my gosh, they're perfect for this. They are the strongest magnets. I can't even get it apart. But I put this little thin little piece on the front and this on the back, and it holds the pieces together so well. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up, but it's fun, and I like making them all. It's the same pattern, but I like using the fabric to give them all a different look. So there we go. And I've got this bag. Oh yeah, I guess this went into it. Okay. So there is our English paper piecing pattern. Pardon me, I've got to close. Boy, the sun has come out now. It was cloudy at first, but the sun is really coming up. Out. All right. So, and I do want to apologize for any of y'all who are really good at noticing details. There we go. I was sitting on a clothespin, not comfortable. Mark, when he was helping me earlier, hang up that one of these flipped off. I've been sitting on it. So, at least we found it. All right, so now I think what I'm going to do real quick, because I can't wait to show you, that is I want to show you how I cut my binding. Let me bring my board over. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. Okay. All right. So let me get this set up on our close-up camera. I've shown some of y'all, I know, have seen me do this a zillion times. I apologize, but ooh, that might be a little bright. I know that I need a nice dark red, and these are going to be good. Now let me see. 2, 3. I'm peeking at, okay. I think 4 lengths are going to be enough. 4 width of fabric by 2.5 inches. This one's had a little piece cut out of it. Oh, little heart. Can you see? Isn't that sweet? So I used a little heart out of this one. But I'm going to get as much as I can out of this one first. So I'm going to go ahead and pull off the selvages. Let me bring the camera up. Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. It was too big of a glare. So both selvages, this just has a little bit of a straight line. Then I'm going to make sure that my edges are pretty straight. Now, if they don't want to lay straight, when you try to gently encourage them, then you might want to cut off at least a 1/2 inch to make sure you have a good straight edge. Now, this is the best ruler to use to cut strips quickly, safely, and efficiently. And I'm going to be cutting 2.5 inches. So I'll slide it to the beginning here. I make sure the fabric lines up with this line, and then I check and see if I need to trim here. I'm going to go ahead and trim just a little bit because I want it very accurate. And then I just take my cutter and go right up the edge. Then I pull that off. Oops, I might not have gotten through all of it. Sometimes if this happens and it cuts really good, but a certain places it doesn't cut as well, don't worry. What it could be is it could get to a place in your cutting mat where there's a little bit of a groove left from other cutting. It could just mean that you need to sharpen or put a new blade in. All right, so now it lines up beautifully. It lines up right along here. What I love about this is a Shape Cut Plus. It's a June Taylor ruler. And I'm going to come, let me move it up a little. But you definitely want a line on the ruler to show, to make sure you've got it square. I'm going to come in here at 2.5 and make a cut. Then I'm going to come in at 5 and make a cut. Then I'm going to come in at 7.5 and make a cut. That gives me 3 perfectly. Yep, I need a new blade, I do believe. So let me quickly trim this off. Just that little, I don't know, but it wouldn't hurt. Whoops. Okay, that was almost through. But do you see how quick and easy it is to use a June Taylor? And it's probably one of the reasons that I think only one time have I cut my finger and I wasn't using this. Because as long as that cutter is in the groove, then it's not near your fingers. Now I'm going to cut one more. And I'm going to cut it from this. I don't like to take off my selvages until, as long as I've got the fabric, I like leaving the selvages because it reminds me of what the fabric is. And so I like to leave it on. Okay, now let me see. So I'm just going to nip a little bit right here. And once I nip it a little, then I can pull it and it will tear evenly along the grain. All right, so now here I've got this. I'm going to smooth it back down. That's the only thing about tearing it, is it will sometimes ruffle your edge. But tearing it, you always, if it's, as long as it's a natural fiber, tearing it, you always get right the straight of grain. So now I've already cut 3 widths of fabric. I needed 4, so I will cut just 1 of this big fabric. Okay, I love this. This was from my sweetie Lisa, and I just love French General. Before, I always had to buy fake French General. But I'm going to cut 1 more, so I set this up. Set it up nice and straight and square, and cut 1 right through. So now I have the fabric cut out. So what I will do, bring this down. What I will do is, you can do it 2 different ways. Most likely, I'm just going to butt these up. If this were a show quilt, I would probably do it on a diagonal. But just for me, it's not a problem. But what I would do is just put the edges together like this and stitch about 1/4 of an inch in. Then I would iron them and either open your seams. That's probably the better way to do it, especially if you're not going to do it at an angle. Open your seams, press it, and then you press it wrong sides together like this, and then you'll have your binding. But I put all of these and make one big continuous piece. Makes it much easier. Now, at the end of it, when you run, you'll have a piece like this that comes up to a piece like this, And what I'll probably do is have this put on the quilt and show you then how to join this in a way that's at an angle that makes it much smoother, because by the time you stitch it in an angle, cut off the excess, actually stitch it this way, cut off the excess. Let me see. You know what? I get confused every time. I sometimes have some spatial things I'm good at, some things I'm not. But you'll cut it, you take off the excess, and then somehow you move it back. It's a straight line and it's at an angle. So I will make sure to show you that, because unless I've just seen it done, I've just done it, and then I show you, I tend to forget. So we'll do that next week when I have these sewn on. And I take the matching thread to put these together and to stitch this onto the quilt. So when I slip stitch it, I use matching thread too. It's the only time that I don't just use gray. But if you were to use a light thread stitching this on and the stitches showed at all, it would really stand out. So there is my binding, and I'll just stitch all those together and that's done. So let me put this away. Okay. Get that out of the way. Okay. And close this up and put that away, knowing I have to sharpen it. I have sharpeners for the blades, so I try to sharpen them a few times, and really helps. Okay, so now, while I've got the close-up here, let's look at the brand new project. Okay, I'm so excited about this. And what I did is I came down, gathered a basket of fabrics, and I needed fabrics for the background of the canvas, fabrics for leaves, and fabrics for the flower. And I don't know if I told you, but the flower I've chosen is the rose. So now let me move this out of the way. Okay. Are you ready? I decided first I was going to do a little wall hanging, but I love these canvas art quilts. So, and I use steamosine too when I do these, and glue, like a tacky glue. And here is the new project. Here I've printed it on the yellow striped area. I first printed it on the opposite side, and this side doesn't hold it. It just rubbed off, made a mess. So I've already taken this and wiped it with a wet wipe to get the excess off. But here I have 2 pages printed on the side of the steamosine that has the yellow stamping. See how it has a grid on it? And it holds better on this side. But I printed out 2 of these because to cut out some means you might damage one of the other pieces. So 2 should give me what I need. Then I took this pattern piece. Now what I did too is the inspiration had a very dark background. So I printed this out, cut it out, and put it on a white background so that it comes across as much cleaner and easier to follow. And let me go back. Oh, you're seeing it. Okay, let me go back. Let me see. Yeah, because, I don't keep the best records, Debbie. I'd like to think that I do, but I get so excited to work on a project. Now, what I'm going to bring up, let me come to, where is, oh, I think I got it. Oh, come on. There it is. All right, I'm going to go to desktop, And then I'm going to come over here to flower ideas, because what I do when I get ready to look for a new project is I find an inspiration. And I was looking through flower catalogs, everything. And this is the inspiration that I hit upon. And I thought this was beautiful. Now, what is this? I took, come on. Okay, it's going to open Word. Okay, I took that photo and whoops, there. And then I took and saved it in black and white. Okay, you see that dark background? I wanted to get rid of that. But I put it in black and white. I enlarged it from a saved photo. Miss Jody knows how to do things so well. I just can't. I have to. I do better when I just try to remember how I did it the last time. But I took this photo. I brought it up in my Word. I saved it as just a JPEG. Then I brought it. I opened it in Word. I enlarged it. And then I took the color out. So I took saturation down to black and white. And then I turned up the contrast. And that way, can you see the light and the dark areas? And I said, I really want this one to be beautiful, because I've done some in the past, and the more attention to detail, the better. So this is how I did this. And then let me, okay, I'm going to close this out, I believe. Here, oh, here first, I made it high contrast, just to kind of get an idea. Whoops, I didn't bring the picture over. Here's the high contrast, just to really see where light and dark is. And that can really help you when you're trying to figure out how to do it. Now, this was extreme, and I wanted a few more layers. So, oh, that's a cute idea I saw for one of my lino block prints. Okay. I wanted just to look at a big, beautiful rose and the colors and how they go from color to color, because I want to pick one color and do the very lightest through the very darkest. And I did 6 tints, tints for this one. I almost did a red rose, but I thought when I do pick out these projects, I like to, and look at these, look at the water droplets. So guess what I thought? I said I can take that UV resin and make some tiny little dots to little cured resin, little droplets. Just a couple tiny ones to put on this when it's done. I love this rose. This is a big old English rose. It just looks more like a peony than a rose. And look at that. Isn't that just magnificent? So that's an image very similar, but it's a different image. And, oh, I'm seeing something right here. I was trying to make these sepals, and I kind of need to use my ink tints and change. So this is the scanned pattern, and I'll have it on our website today. And then here, yeah, oh, that's the scan. And I have one that I've trimmed down to put as the placeholder on our site. This right here, any of you who are eagle-eyed, is where a drop of water hit the printing. And now you get to see what colors go into making that darkish gray. So probably all of them. All right, so that's where we are. That's what we're going to be doing. And I am going to put this PDF pattern on our website. Or if you're not a member of our free group and you would rather not join, no problem. Just send me, whoops, I didn't put this over there. Okay, hold on. Well, let me see. Okay, hold on 1 second. Yep, I didn't put it up yet. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so now I have to carry this over. Whoops, come on. Come on. Oh, poo. It's not wanting to. Huh. Okay. Well, tell you. Well, I know what I'm going to do because I'm going to find a way around this being difficult. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to do detailed close up and let me see. Oh, well, it's too hard. So I'll just show you this. So I've gone back and I've marked all the little areas. And I try to say, okay, so if I'm going to spend time and energy, now I might just get a more gray, green looking sepal for that. And what that sepal was, that was the part that kept the flower wrapped up until while that bud was forming, this part had enclosed the bud, and then it breaks open as the bud grows and it comes. Whoops, I was showing you that, but I didn't have the camera in place. But the sepal, these little, they enclose the bud. When the bud gets big enough and burst out, then they kind of come back and, uh-oh, see you. Who is coming back? Take good care. Was it Bonnie? When you're saving your salvages, make sure you can order the fabric again. Don't forget. Yes. You know what, Bonnie? That's a great idea. All right, Bonnie, take good care. All right. Love that, Bonnie. Okay. So I do need to make these a little more gray, and I can either do it, I haven't ironed it down yet, so it might be easier to just make, I want these to look a little drier and curlier because I want this to be as realistic as possible. So here's a stem, here is a thorn, and I'm going to make some leaf petals in this space, but this is the color I've decided to make my rose. And as I was saying, yes, I like very much to challenge myself to expand what I can do. And I'll show you these in just a minute. Here are my leaf colors. I always try to have 3 so that this would be the body. This is the highlight area. And this is the shadow part where I need. But I need to have an image in front of me to know to get that 3-leaf pattern. I might put one here and then put one here, or maybe, I don't know. I don't want to interfere with that thorn. I do like my thorn. So here are the leaf ones, and I'm going to use this one. This still, it's rubbed off here, but I can still use the back to make my leaves. So that will be for that. And I think I might try to find something that looks dried up, because this is not supposed to be green and fresh. Nice that I made it dark, and if I don't find a fabric, I can take my ink tints and color on this. So that's not a problem. All right, so in this one, you may go, gosh, Deb, some of those areas are really little. And I chose 6 different fabrics because Let me turn. Now my fan is making me too cold. Oh, let me turn this down. Okay. So I chose 6 because I really wanted to have the best result possible. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about choosing fabrics. When you have 6 and it's a color like yellow, that's tricky for me because, let me turn my iron on. That's tricky for me because what is a very dark yellow and what, actually the light yellow was a little easier. A cream is a very, very lightest yellow. Now I'm going to iron these, but these are my fabric choices for color number 1, which is my lightest. And here are the fabric choices for color number 2. Okay, so lightest, then getting a little bit more intense. Then these are the choices for fabric number 3. Then here is fabric number 4. Then fabric number 5. Right here. Whoops, running out of space. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here's number 6, the darkest. And it's going to be tricky. I'm going to have to, in some of these fabrics, I'm going to have to cut around to get just the shade that I want. And so what this is, it's a cut. You're trying to find 6 pieces of fabric of yellow. Maybe this is probably a more pure yellow. Number 3. Yellow with white added, or yellow with gray or black added. That's how you get this range of yellows, okay? Now, if you're not sure that you've got the range worked out, if you're not sure if it works, there's a couple things you can do. One thing I like to do that's pretty easy is I like to squint at it. And when I squint at it, it's trying to see if, when I squint at it, it helps me differentiate between very light to very dark, okay? The other way is take a picture of this and then upload it to your computer and then take and put it on grayscale. If you do that, you will be able to see if you have it 1 through 6. And so that is, do it on grayscale like this. If this were still the original pink color, it's really hard trying to see the difference between 4 and 5 and even 6. But the 3, 4, and 5 can be real tricky to pick out. Okay? Now, if you want, please feel free to do this your own way. If you disagree with some of mine, do it your own way. I picked just a few of the number 1s. Okay, just down here. That's to give it some pop. Then the most of it are 2s and 3s. Then 4, 5, and 6 are a smaller subgroup. So here is what I've got. Now, So I'll show you how I'm going to do this, okay? I need to get these. These are, let me grab a paper scissors, please. All right. So this is on the fusible. Now, if I want the fusible to go this way, this is where it gets tricky, because it normally does a mirror image, but I can show you a way around that, because it's hard. If you can flip it, if you're good enough on your computer to flip this image, then you can print it on the yellow side of Steamaseam 2 or whatever brand you have, and you can make that work. All right, so I'm going to real quickly just see what I've got here. And this is a piece of white. Then I've got, look, these are, I mean, barely a hint of yellow. And here is this one. And if you don't, these all came out of my scrap basket, because I will be using different little tiny pieces. Now, I will go back. That number 6, that's the tricky. Number 1 and number 6 are the two hardest to choose. Okay? Whoops, and let me lay this back out. Some of these got kind of mangled in the scrap basket. But, okay. So this is already on. And I think I'm going to use this for this one. This was the real, here it is right here. See how bright that is? So I think I'm going to use an almost white for this one. And what I'm going to do, since it's already on fusible, let me grab a pencil. Make sure it's sharpened. Okay, so I can see through this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do bigger, about 1/8 of an inch bigger than the original pattern. Okay, and this is a number 1. I know right where it goes. So, whoops, now I can use, I don't know where my other good scissor is. I must have taken some of them upstairs. All right, so I'm just going to cut this out. And you either have to draw a line of how much extra you put in, or just always make it 1/8 of an inch bigger, and you can know what to do. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to work from the narrow out. And, okay. Now what I really need to do here, is to somehow with chalk draw. I took and just tacked it down with some glue, but draw with chalk exactly where this is supposed to go. And don't worry if this looks rough edged, because the other pieces I'm going to put on top of this one around. Okay, so just making sure I get this in place right there. It needs to go up a little bit more. And you can kind of feel the fabric too, to know if you've got it placed in right. Then I'll come here and I'll just iron it. Okay, let's see. All right, so there it is. That is showing. And you can take and make a copy of this on golden threads paper. Let me show you that. What I'm probably going to do is try my best to place it without making yet another copy. Here's my golden threads paper. Golden threads is very helpful, because if you can make a copy of this, if you could figure out how to print, or just lay it on here, draw it on this, number it. I think I will go ahead and do it. This would be just so nice to have, because then I can take off that thick drawing that I can't see through. And okay, let me cut this. And if you buy a roll of golden threads, that'll probably last you your whole life. So it is well worth it. It comes in 2 sizes. This is a longer roll. Some of the rolls are shorter. And I wouldn't know. It'd be nice if you could get this to go through the printer, but I'm not sure how that would work. Sorry, I bumped the camera. But what I will do, not now, but what I will do later, look how easy that is to see. So you could just come like this and draw it and put the number. I've already got this one right here. So when I make this piece, I will have it partially cover this one. And I'll probably do it by just cutting it out. I'll leave raw edge, okay? But it's up to you whether you tuck it under around this piece or just cut it even with that line. But now you'll know exactly where to place your pieces, because you have this. Now, if you have any kind of see-through paper, you can use that. And what I will do, once I draw this pattern on this, I will take and pin it to the canvas. And that way it stays, and I can lift it up, see where to put it, and fold it back. And that way it won't change and skew up the image, because it's important to always, like, I can just take this right here, push it right through the canvas. Easy peasy, see? Like this, okay? And that way, and I might even want a third, but that way you got to be able to fold it up. You'll have this off, and then you'll start putting things down. So, and what I'll probably do, I don't want some of these to show through. If I think they're going to show through, all I have to do is take a little damp rag and give that a little rub. In fact, I have a wet wipe here. And this was put on with white glue. So see how you just give it a little wet and then you scrape it off with your fingernail. But this was just to tack it, so when I brought it down, I'd have everything just where I wanted it. And I canted this image this way. But see, then if you have this pinned, then you just bring it back down and you can go. So once I have the pattern drawn, then this one will come off and sit to the side as the original, to make sure I'm putting things where I need. And by putting the fusible on the back, then how easy is that to then put in place? So there you go. And that's how I'll do all these little pieces. And that's why I made 2 copies of this. Okay, so now let's look. Let's do this piece right here. Okay, I'm going to cut pretty close to the pattern, but I know that when I put it on the fabric, I am going to then make sure that it's cut right. Okay, and this, by doing these canvas seasonal art quilts, you can leave them raw edged, because you're not going to ever wash this. And I love doing the canvas because they're so easy to hang. And I have one place where I put these. There's a nail in the wall, and there it is. So I've cut this piece out. Now, I talked about the fact that I kind of wanted to leave it in that same delineation, but if you print it this way, I didn't do a reverse. So then how in the world do you get it to be the same orientation? Well, I'm going to find a piece of number 3 fabric, and I'm going to press it like this, making sure it's nice and smooth. Then I'm going to take off the, whoops, sorry, I didn't show you. I pressed it. I'm going to take off the paper and try to do it opposite. Okay, let me show you. I want the glued part to stick to the back. See this? Because here is the way it looked, but I want it to be, whoops, here is the way it looked originally. Okay, but I want to do it the opposite. So by making sure the glue is on the back, then when I put this on, guess what? It'll be just the way I need it to be. So I'm going to come back, press on that first layer of glue. Then I'm going to cut this out 1/8 of an inch bigger on some sides. I'm not going to do it on, okay, let me see. The edge that I need it to be, okay, is kind of the smooth edge. So this I'm going to cut even with the adhesive right here, because there's no sense in having anything extra for that. And if I really wanted to, I could cut them all exact size. The only problem with that is if you have any kind of space that they didn't quite interlock good. So when you can, try to, as I peeled off the paper, the sticky part is on the back here. Now I will be using this once I get this drawn, but for right now, I make sure this is laying in place just where it's supposed to be. Make sure number 1. Yep. So then I will come in here, pick this up. Come on. There you go. Go back. All right, I'll pick this up, put it right here, making sure that it covers everything. Making sure, and that's where having this, the golden threads paper, will make it so much easier. And I like the steam too because I can put it right in place. If it's not just right, guess what? I can move it. So here is piece number 3. All right, so here's the raw edge here. Then piece number 4 will go right here and cover this edge. Piece number 2 will come in and cover all of this edge, okay? So when I cut piece number 4, I have a smooth edge here, but I can have it go a little long under piece 5. Well, let me come down closer so you can see what I mean. All right, so piece number 4 is going to cover this edge. I'm going to make piece number 4, I'm going to cut that right on the line, the real line. This, I'll have it go 1/8 of an inch longer, and then I'll put 5 on that. Over here with piece number 2, I'm going to cut it right on the line. And I'm going to go ahead and do piece number 2 because I want you to see the process of how they start kind of piling up on each other. So now in piece number 2, there's a little number 4, and that will just go on top of number 2. So I've got to remember it. That's why I have 2. That is why I printed out 2 on Steam, because how in the world would I get that? I can't cut it out as such. Okay, let's go up here, and then I'll cut across this. All right, so here is piece number 2, and this, I'm going to trim it just a wee bit closer to this edge here. And try to get, if it's got a little bit of a wavy edge, try to get that in there. Now I need, this was 3, so now I need a 2. All right. Let me find a 2. Here. Here is 2. So what I'm going to do now, give this a quick iron, nice and smooth. Then I'm going to peel this off. See the way it sits? I'm going to peel this off, trying to leave the sticky on the back paper, because there's a paper on the front and a paper on the back. And if I keep it sticky on the back paper, then I flip it over and I'll have it the way I want. But like I say, when you go to print this design on your steam machine, if you can figure out how to flip the image, do it, and that way when it prints, you won't have to do this backwards maneuvering like I'm having to do. So now I will put this on this, like this. All right, and see, it's opposite, because this would go like that. So it's opposite. And I need this line to be perfect, and down here to be cut right on this and this, but have it go over a little bit there. Okay? All right. Oops, fabric scissors. All right. And then I'm going to have this edge to go 1/8 of an inch over. And the same for up here. 1/8 of an inch is really all you'll need, because you just want to make sure that when you go to put down, let me check my, so this needs to be cut on the line. Actually, so does that too. Okay? So if this is like this, this needs to be cut on the line. All right? Just look at your picture so you know, because you don't want it to go over, and it's so much easier to cut before you iron it down. So here it's going to go on like this, and this side right here needs to be cut right on the line of fusible. And I will check your comments, the live chat comments, to see if you have any questions on what I'm doing, because I want you to be able to be successful at this. This side I'm leaving long because it will go underneath 4. But see this? There. Yep, there we go. All right, so now I'm going to come over and place it here. And first, though, before I do this, just make sure I ironed it down, just to make sure. Because then what I've got to do is peel the paper off the back, so the sticky side is ready to hold it down. So now I have to place it right here, making sure I've got the placement just right. Let's see, that, whoops, a little bit over too far. See, this is why I like the steam machine too, because you can place it and then double check. So I can feel the edge under here. I know that this is good. So there it is. Now I'll come back and I'll go ahead and iron it down. This is why I love these canvas art quilts, because they're so easy to do. And you know, sometimes it's nice to have something easy to do, you know? But in this way, I'll just keep working with these little pieces. Don't let the size of the pieces upset you, because you've got the paper guide, print out 2 of these. In fact, I can't forget, I've got to put a piece number 4 right there. So what I will do is cut a little piece of this, like this, and just, I can kind of eyeball this one. I don't have to be perfect. Just eyeball it. Let's see. Okay. All right. So it's still a little big. Let me cut it smaller. I don't want it too large. That would make it look odd. Now I need a piece number 4. So I'm going to come over in pile number 4 and pick out, this would be good. So let me get these out of the way. Give this a little iron. Peel this off. Hopefully I've got the sticky, whoops. And I do apologize. I've been gardening with my nail polish and it's chewed them up. All right, so I'm going to put this on the wrong side of the fabric like that. Then I'm going to iron it down. Then I'm going to come in here with my fabric scissors and cut this tiny little piece out. It doesn't have to be perfect. And cut it right on the line, cut it the shape it needs to be, because this will not be tucked under anything. And doesn't need to be perfect. Did anybody check out those beautiful little pastoral AI YouTube videos? They are just so sweet. They have captivated me. And there's all kinds of people that are doing them. But they are just so sweet. All right, here we go. All right, so now, I've got to make sure to keep my colors in their rightful piles so that I know what I'm reaching for and what I need. All right, here's color number 4. I'm going to peel off that final paper. Sometimes this gets a little tricky. If you have to, use a little straight pen, and you can either try to catch it with that or score it with that. All right, and this piece comes right here. I'm going to cut this. Well, no, it's good enough. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there. It's a little touch bigger than the original, but that's okay. Now iron it down, and there we go. And what I love about these arts, can you see the color better? What I love about these arts on canvas is that's done now. Except we will come back at the end and we will take a permanent marker and we will define all the edges. So let me bring this back up. So we've started the process. We've got this one over here. We've got those here. We've started the process. Now, you might say, well, how come you don't just put a white circle on top of this piece? I still may, because that purple might be reflecting too much through this white. So once I put piece number 2 on, I might want to then put another number 1 on top of the number 2, which will then help buffer this fabric from the dark fabric underneath. And as usual, this is a Jenny Beyer background. I always use Jenny Beyer fabric on every quilt I make. So I'm hoping that this is getting you a little excited. This is also something you can sit and do while you're watching your favorite show. Get a little card table if you want, or if you have a lap desk, and just use, especially if you have one of those tiny irons that are used for applique, and just have your fabrics laid out, cut them, iron them in place, cut them, iron them in place. Before you know it, we should have a lovely lovely yellow rose. And I chose the background, which is part purple, part blue, very dark, because that is the contrast of yellow. And I knew that they would just pop. And the green even does, because it has a lot of yellow in it. So I hope that you will give this a try. And if you don't belong to our group, please send me an email at that email address I put up there. And I hope. Oh, you didn't like the ages of the people depicted. You found it depressing. Oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart. I can see how you would. Oh, I'm sorry. I love it, but I can see how you would. Aw. Okay. So the main thing is I might put each of these color sections on in a separate bowl, okay, or paper plate, because I don't want to confuse these. I worked hard to get 6 separate tints, and I want to keep them together. Now, when I do some of the darkest colors, I may be cutting out of some of these. Um, like I've got some like this fabric. I'll cut the darkest parts. And it's hard to know, how do you get the darkest yellow? That is really tricky. And so I just have a bunch of different scraps to try it and see what I come up with. All right, so this is our latest canvas art, and I'm so excited to work on this. I might start working on it tonight, because this is exciting for me. So I hope you'll give it a shot. If you don't have a canvas, just decide what size fabric you're going to use and do the same process, and then just turn it into a small finished wall art quilt. So, okay. I think that's everything here. So it is time to do show and tell. Oh, I don't need to turn that light off. I forgot. We've got OBS now. All right, so goodbye for this week for the close-up cam. And let's go to show and tell. All right, show and tell. Okie dokie. Let us see. Miss Bonnie, love her bunnies. Let me bring this over. Whoops, come on. I've got to go over here. Unless I get this set up over here, you can't see it. Whoops. Now let me bring this big. Yay. I love her bunnies. She loves hand embroidery, cross stitch, quilt making. I just love that. Okay, and then we'll bring up this one and bring this over. I love she did a block exchange, and this is a mug rug. So cute. I love that. All done by hand. Beautiful work, Miss Bonnie. I am turning into a bigger and bigger fan of handwork. Pardon me, little hiccup. The older I get, the more I love handwork. Here's her cute, cute little bunny. And let me see if oh, here's her finished quilt she did for Easter, spring. Let me see if I can find her finished black work. Oh, there's part of it. Let me see where the finished one is. Here it is. Her black work is amazing. That takes a lot of patience. 8 o'clock. You have to do a lot of counting. She's got such patience. Oh, good. Mary, thanks for telling us that. Everyone, our Jody, she has the YouTube channel called Quilt Squirrel, and she went mushroom hunting. I have never done that. It would be my luck I'd get a poison one. But I bet you if Jody does it, she'll tell you exactly what to look for. That's wonderful. So check out Quilt Squirrel with our Jody. Oh, that's great. Thank you, Mary, for telling me that. All right, now let's see. I bet you Deb has, let's see, I think this is her springtime. Yes, I love it. Easter and now for spring. And can't wait. She'll soon be moving into probably summer, 4th of July. I love her quilts. I love this Asian quilt. And these wonderful miniature hangings. They're great. Broderie purse. I love it. Where you cut out fancy fabric and put it on less expensive fabric. That was very much in vogue during colonial times. All right. Go back to show and tell. I don't think we have too many new ones, but I know that as people have more time. Oh my gosh, our Hopi sent me pictures, and their snow had started melting, and oh, I don't think I have it here, but anyway, needless to say, this is what her yard looked like again just the other day. Can you believe it? So she is our wonderful Labradorian friend, and boy, does she lives in a beautiful area with a lot of snow. So isn't that amazing? I mean, she's right up there by the Arctic Circle, I'm pretty sure. All right, Miss Jo Sews did a wonderful rag quilt. And whoop, not that one. That is a lovely tumbling blocks. I know who's home from their bike ride. Yay. Okay, let's see. Where is, oops, that is not from Miss Jo. Oh, that's right. I put them down in a different folder. I got it confused. Let me go back. And it's down in the Vicky folder. She did a rag quilt. Here's the front. And here is the back. And I love it. I love that Bargello here. And on the front, it's whatever you want it to be. Good job, Miss Jo. That is lovely. Okay. Now let's see who we have next. Oh gosh, I don't want to miss anyone. Please know if I missed you, just let me know and I will make sure to show them extra special next time. And I think Miss Mary, I think this was her most recent. And Miss Mary, if I've missed any of yours, then just please send them to me again. I would love to show them. And I love this because Miss Mary has a cute little Singer featherweight. Isn't that adorable? I love it. Okay, I'll go back to show and tell. Let me see. Oh, gotta show Mares one more time. If you have grandsons or great-grandsons, they would love this quilt. Didn't she do an outstanding job? She did all the machine applique, the machine embroidery. It's beautiful. I just love that. Isn't that nice? Way to go. All right. Well, and that was our mayor who says she's not a gardener, but there's probably a green thumb somewhere around there. Miss Marcia, who sends me just cute pictures from time to time, and I just love it. I love Miss Marcia's spirit. And let's see. Melton. Michelle, I haven't heard from Melton in a while. I think that's it. If I have missed someone, I do apologize. But way to go, everybody. So now I'll bring us back to main cam. any questions you might have, let me go back and check. Um, Mary, that is so cute. She tells people she's older than she is, and they say, "Oh, you look so young." I love it. I love it. Okay. Oh, you love that fabric. It's your favorite color. That's good to know. That is good to know. All right. Yeah. And don't forget to check out our Jody. And it looks like she's made really good progress on a wonderful quilt that she'll enjoy for the 250th anniversary of our country. So I think that's pretty much it for today. And I hope that this rose gets you excited to try it. And I will support you any way that I can. You have my email address. Write with any questions you have because I want you to be successful. That is my first and foremost wish for you. So I think it's time for me to go get something to snack on and get ready to do some more work. Now I'm so excited. I'm terrible like this. I love starting a new project and then I tend to kind of let everything else slide while I'm doing the new one. But I know that I need to get this Irish homestead quilt done and out to them. So I'm looking forward to that too. All right, everybody. May 1st is going to be coming up, and I'm going to go see The Devil Wears Prada Part 2. I love Meryl Streep and I love a big bucket of popcorn. So take good care of yourself. If you have plants to plant, enjoy. Think of me. Um, I hope the weather cooperates where you live. I hope that you get adequate rain. It's been this when we have a drought, it really gets to me. And that's why I'm not sure I could live in a desert area because when I see everything get weepy and brown and would you dehydrated, it makes me so sad. So, and I wouldn't want to have to use precious water for everything. So I better just stay where we get enough rain. But take good care of yourself. Let me know if you catch any good Netflix or YouTube videos, shows you like. We can share them with each other. And take good care of yourself, especially now with all the things, the crazy things that are going on. But take good care of yourself. I will see you next week. Bye bye, everyone. Take care. All right.